Please. Sí. The House Chairperson.
There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. The secretary will read the order.
Debate on vote number 11, Public Service and Administration, including vote number 7, National School of Government, and vote number 12, Public Service Commission Appropriation Bill.
I will now recognize the Honorable Minister of Public Service and Administration.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Mhlonishwa Sihlalo. Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Honorable Deputy Minister of Public Service and Administration, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and all members of the Portfolio Committee, colleagues, all greetings. Honorable House Chair, today I present the budget vote number 7, 11, and 12 for the Minister of Public Service and Administration for 2025-26 financial year. The Deputy Minister, Honorable Pinky Sharon Kekane, will present the budget breakdown for the Center for Public Service Innovation, the Government Employee Medical Scheme, and a report on the Government Employee Housing Scheme. House Chair, as we embark on a new financial year and implement our 5-year strategic plans, this moment is fundamental for the 7th administration, which is the Government of National Unity. You will recall that our 7th administration continued the strategic adopted in the 6th administration, and I believe we have done so with commendable success. The tabling of our strategic and annual performance plans marks the crucial step forward for the GNU, aligning seamlessly with our statement of intent and the new medium-term development plan. I am particularly pleased, Honorable Chair, to note that the transition to the 7th administration has been smooth across the public service, despite initial concerns about potential instability. Our dedicated public servants have effectively navigated the political complexities, ensuring that governance and service delivery remain on course. I applaud each public servant for prioritizing the interest of our country. As a ministry, we are committed to strategically support and invest in the public service to enhance governance and service delivery, addressing inefficiencies, low productivity, corruption, and accountability. We are fully engaged in implementing the professionalization framework, which is vital for developing professionalism beyond political terms, building public trust, and enhancing service delivery. This comprehensive approach, Chair, includes merit-based appointments, competitive recruitment processes, continuous training, and strong commitment to digitally transform public service delivery. Honorable House Chair, I'm proud to share that we have made significant strides in public service reforms over the past year, with a strong focus on enhancing efficiency, accountability, and citizen engagement. Our collective efforts are dedicated to rebuilding public trust through a renewed and purpose-driven public service that truly works for all. Since our last year budget vote in 2024, the DPSA has been at the forefront of professionalizing the public service. We successfully tabled the Public Service Amendment Bill, a crucial step towards strengthening accountability and enhancing service delivery. Our commitment to modernizing public service through digitization and ICT innovations have laid a solid foundation for a more responsive government. Our partnership with organized labor, Chair, has also played a vital role in improving the welfare of public servants. The conclusion of the wage negotiation before the end of financial year demonstrates the improved relations that have been furthered between labor and the government. These efforts are crucial in creating a capable, ethical, and democratic state that truly meets the need of all South Africans. The DPSA has guided departments in transitioning from the 6th to the 7th administration, issuing practical circulars to instill correct recruitment practices and ensure compliance. Notably, we mandated that the special advisors and support staff complete the Nugela course and competence assessments, ensuring that executive authorities receive quality advice and support. This shift, Chair, is grounded in our directive on human resource management and development for public service professionalization, which prioritizes meritocracy, transparency, and fairness. As part of our professionalization agenda, we continue to support departments in implementing institutional reviews and skills audit. Our initiatives have led to the ongoing monitoring of lifestyle audits for elected officials and senior public servants, reflecting significant progress in upholding ethical standards and institutionalization of a culture of accountability. We have also taken decisive steps, Chair, to protect whistleblowers through our approved guide for witness protection, ensuring that those who report corruption can do so without fear of retaliation. Furthermore, our enhancement to discipline management and establishing a central register for discipline actions promotes transparency, accountability within the public service. House Chair, the DPSA budget allocation for 2025-26 financial year will focus on several key areas, including developing a remuneration policy for fair compensation and implementing the Batupile revitalization campaign to promote active citizenry and enhance service delivery. Our commitment to transparency is further reinforced through our participation in the African peer review mechanism and our engagement with the Open Government Partnership, ensuring that these programs act as a platform for citizens' participation and building trust in government. House Chair, modernizing public service delivery through digitization is a vital component of our strategy. We are developing a comprehensive digital transformation roadmap, collaborating with key stakeholders to streamline access to government services. Additionally, we are rolling out a data management program to foster evidence-based policy development and enhance ICT governance. The recent adoption, House Chair, of the Public Service Commission Bill by this House, as I alluded earlier on, marks a significant milestone in our commitment to strengthening the role of the Commission, affirming its independence as a vital constitutional safeguard for promoting an ethical value system and good governance. The bill aims to achieve several key objectives. Firstly, it establishes a secretariat for Commission, enabling it to function as an independent and impartial constitutional body. This enhancement, Honorable Chair, will support the Commission in effectively fulfilling its mandate across the entire public administration, including local government and public entities, in alignment with the constitution of this country. The bill also seeks to improve the efficiency and impact of the Commission by legally obligating members of the executive to act on the recommendation issued after investigations conducted by the Commission. This measure, House Chair, is key as we collectively build a capable, ethical, and democratic state where accountability is the standard of all, not an exception. The bill also further regulates the appointment procedure for commissioners themselves, ensuring that we select individuals who are competent, fit for purpose, and uphold the highest level of integrity. During the State of the Nation address this year in February 6, His Excellency President Ramaphosa stated, among others, and I quote, "South Africans want a state that treats all people with dignity, humility, and respect. A state with leaders who are prepared to serve our people with complete dedication, and public servants who are ethical, skilled, and properly qualified. To achieve these objectives, Chair, we are strengthening the role of the Public Service Commission in appointing the key people who direct the affairs of our state, such as Director Generals, Deputy Director Generals, Chief Executive Officers of state-owned entities, board members, and other senior positions. The progress made with the processing of the PS bill is therefore a significant step towards the achievement of the objectives outlined by the President of this country, His Excellency Sri Ramaphosa. To support these initiatives, Chair, the Public Service has established a preliminary database of technical experts to participate in high-level selection committees for appointing top executives in the public service. This database will be refined further, and a good practice guide for executive recruitment will be developed. Honorable House Chair, over the next 2.5 years, the PSC will work to institutionalize core values in the local government, promoting ethical conduct, integrity, professionalism, and enhanced service delivery. By the end of the 7th administration, we expect to have made significant progress in this regard in institutionalizing these core values on all spheres of government, including state-owned entities. Our integrity and anti-corruption programs will be central to achieving these goals. Chair, strengthening the PSC also requires ensuring its financial independence. The Commission must be adequately funded to fully discharge its constitutional mandate without fear, favor, or prejudice. The budgetary constraints limit the Commission's capacity, which is evident in its challenges in filling critical vacancies. The extension of the PSC's mandate to cover local government and public entities, as outlined in the bill, will necessitate additional funding and resources for effective implementation. However, House Chair, we have since actively forged strategic partnerships which are already yielding positive results. And we will continue to enhance our efforts during the Midterm Development Plan 2024-29. These include various approaches with different institutions, including the United Nations Development Programme, the World Bank, the German Agency for International Cooperations, and the Chandler Institute of Governance in Singapore, exploring ways of collaboration so that the work of the Commission is not hampered by financial constraints. Honorable House Chair, central to our endeavor, the National School of Government has been instrumental in building a capable state. The NSG stands at the forefront of our efforts to professionalize and create a capable public service as envisaged in the NDP. Over the past 5 years, it has expanded its mandate, providing innovative training initiatives to approximately 35,000 learners, including public servants and leaders from various sectors, even reaching countries like Zambia and Kenya. The NSG is poised to deepen its impact with strategic initiatives that align with evolving demands. Key priorities include implementing the national framework for professionalization by extending programs like Nugela, developing new qualifications and professional learning programs for our public servants. We are determined to ensure that compulsory education for public servants equips them with critical competencies for their roles. In line with the present directive, the NSG will emphasize digital capability and artificial intelligence scaling, ensuring that our public service is well prepared for digital age. The NSG will partner with business, industries, and civil society to further enrich its curriculum and impact. In this regard, Chair, I'm glad to announce that I'll be appointing a Ministerial Advisory Committee focused on curriculum development and quality assurance. House Chair, when it comes to the budget of the Department of Public Service Administration is the least budget-consuming department, with a joint budget of 564,720,000 allocated to both the DPSA and the Center for Public Innovation for the coming financial year. The NSG will operate with a budget of 228.6 million, while the allocated budget for the Public Service Commission is just 302 million. Although we aim to maximize this allocated budget, House Chair, but budget cuts in the past financial years have hindered some of our programs. The budget we present today is therefore not just a financial document, but a roadmap for transformative change. Through our collective efforts, we are dedicated to building a capable, ethical, and development public service that works for all. This budget reflects our commitment to enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of public service while fostering a culture of accountability and ethical governance. This will empower us to implement strategic initiatives that prioritizes the needs of our citizens as we navigate the challenges ahead. I therefore extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our stakeholders and the dedicated team at the Ministry of Public Service and Administration portfolio for their unwavering commitment. Together, let us continue to pave a way for a public service that is responsive, accountable, and truly works for all South Africans. In this regard, Honorable Chair, I urge members of this House to support the budget vote, as this will enable us to advance our vision for a public service that truly works for all. I thank you so much, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I will now recognize Honorable Tikana Otiwe.
Malibongwe.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. Good afternoon to honorable members of the August House, the Honorable Minister, Kosi Buthelezi, and the Honorable Deputy Ministers who are in attendance, Deputy Minister Kekana, the Chair of the Public Service Commission and all commissioners led by Professor Fikeni, the CEO of GEMS, and the Acting Director General. The African National Congress welcomes the 2025 budget proposal as a decisive intervention that prioritizes job creation, economic growth, and service delivery while protecting our democracy heart and accomplishments. This budget is more than just numbers and allocations. It is about our people's lived realities, rectifying historical injustices, and ensuring that economic change remains in the forefront of governance. It underscores the ANC's steadfast commitment to eradicating poverty, reducing inequality, and creating a better life for everyone, as outlined in the ANC manifesto and the January 8 statement. The South African Public Service has been experiencing substantial restructuring over the past years. Following the abolition of apartheid public service in 1994, the new government sought to establish a democratic, inclusive, and responsive public service. This political transition was also accompanied by a systematic transformation of all institutions, agencies, and organs of state. Forming the bedrock of this transformation was a committed public service. The restructuring of public service became related to nation building, the new government agenda of reconstruction and developing a democratic state depending on the willingness, capability, and patriotism of public service. At this mainstay of public service is the principle of Batupile, which enforces the government to be responsive towards people's needs and put citizens at the center of their development. Although in relative terms, the budget for the Public Service Commission has increased, but nominal terms, we saw a decrease of about 0.4%. The work of the Commission is immense when it comes to the inculcation of good moral practices of public service. In its 55th National Congress, the ANC had resolved that South Africa's public service is being reformed to put an end to corruption, state capture, and low productivity and performance. This next generation public service must have a significant social impact whilst also exhibiting world-class operational efficiency and effectiveness. We need a public service that helps South Africa solve its challenges and promote progress towards a better future for all. From its inception in 1912, at the first Congress of then South African Native National Congress, which was renamed the African National Congress in 1923, until the first democratic elections in April 1994. the African National Congress has struggled against many forms of injustices placed on South Africa's Black populace by successive white minority governments. Public service was not immune to this segregation and inhuman ideas. The white paper on the transformation of public administration underscores these atrocities. On its occasion to power, the Government of National Unity inherited a society marked by deep social and economic inequalities, as well as by serious racial, political, and social divisions. Guided by the principle of national reconciliation, the new South African government adopted the Reconstruction and Development Program to reorientate and reunite society towards a common purpose, that of socially coherent and economically equitable society. Lest we forget the contribution of the African National Congress-led government to the creation of the South African Constitution, established a group of institutions known as Institutions Supporting Democracy. They are created under Chapter 9 of the Constitution. These institutions exist alongside the traditional three pillars of government. They were created to serve the people without any form of discrimination and envisaged by the Freedom Charter, the bulwark of ANC policy orientation. Honorable members, our history has no blank pages. It is noted in the strive to develop a public service that is responsive and people-centered development. In that, government, civil society plays a crucial role in democratic governance, providing opportunities for public engagement, lobbying, and collective action. Civil society consists of several non-governmental organizations founded on voluntarism and civic association concept. This epitomizes the dictum, democracy by the people, for the people, hence the Batupele framework is essential for the people-centered government. Honorable members, talking about the Batupele principles is important in South Africa since they are consistent with the country's democratic traditions. These principles prioritize the delivery of efficient, accessible, and accountable public service to all citizens. The Batupele principles promote transparency, justice, and responsiveness in service delivery, upholding South African citizens' constitutional right to quality public service. They also help to realize the constitutional ideas of dignity, equality, and social justice by ensuring that public institutions prioritize the needs of citizens. It is encouraged to witness that budget has conspicuously set aside provisions for the Public Service Commission to enforce the implementation and monitor the government entities' adherence to these principles. Honorable members, this budget operationalizes the policy position held by ANC in its manifesto of 2024. The ANC pledged to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state, which is rooted in aspirations of the people of South Africa, especially the poor. The professionalization framework serves the purpose. Its merit-based recruitment, underpinned by independent monitors to job recruitment, is breath of fresh air in the public sector. On the other hand, the budget benefits the national schools of government in promoting and building the culture of continuous learning and increase the capacity of the public service, although as ANC would have liked to see a significant increase in the sector, but we appreciate the Treasury for the allocation. As I conclude, digitalization and modernization government human resource management is an ambitious yet achievable outcome. This is the flagship for the Center of Public Service and Innovation. This will enable government competitiveness and follow global trends on the modernization of public service for efficient service delivery. Building a capable, ethical, and developed state is not an event. It needs society that embraces continuous learning, is patriotic, commensurate, and loathes corruption and anti-transformative. A healthy worker is a productive worker. We applaud GEMS for taking mental wellness seriously. The funds set aside for this program will go a long way towards the stability of workers' health care, subsequently increasing productivity at workplace. Honorable members, the budget serves the purpose of delivering a capable, ethical, and developmental state that the country desires. Aluta continua.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Well,
I will now recognize Honorable Malinga.
Mhlali ngaphambili. Ngqongqoshe Shenge. Sekela ngqongqoshe. Sihlalo wekomiti. Professor wekomiti. Nabo bonke abafanele ukuhlonishwa. Anginibingelele ntambama. I rise today not in protest for its own sake, but in defense of the millions of South Africans whose lives are daily demolished by a public service that is failing in its most fundamental duty to serve the people of South Africa. I stand to reject the proposed budget allocated to Department of Public Service and Administration,
Honorable members,
National School,
can we please note down the speaker on the podium?
National Schools of Government and Public Service Commission in their current form. This rejection is not politically theater. It is a moral necessity. Let us dispense with diplomatic emphatism and speak plainly. Then so-called commitment to professionalizing the public service, it's a slogan, not a strategy. We have had frameworks, we have read vision statements, we have been promised implementation, but the lived reality of ordinary South African is one of exclusion, inefficiency, and indifference. Today, thousands of ghost employees are still drawing salaries from a state that cannot afford school infrastructure, that cannot afford building clinics, and that cannot fund job creation programs. Mawubheka nje kwaZulu Natal, izikole sobala ezimbalwa nje. Esankontshe primary school abanawo ama-toilet. Ehlengisizwe clinic sikhuluma kuyimanje kungena umyalezo ukuthi iguli ezingama-20 ezolanda amaphilisi e-TB nawe HIV and AIDS abawatholanga kuzobe manje bahleli balindile. In the Northwest Department, health alone has got 500 ghost workers were covered, drawing millions. And the consequences, no arrest, no disciplinary action, no accountability, just silence like a grave. We must remember, Bachopele means people first. But in practice, the government, that so-called GNU, have become temples of red tape, where arrogance replaces emphasis and inefficiency is excluded as capacity challenges. At Home Affairs in Pinetown, KwaZulu-Natal, citizens queue from 4 a.m. only to be turned away by 2 p.m. because the system is offline. In Soweto, a mobile Home Affairs van failed to operate because it has no fuel. Ihlazo elingaka, moto kahulumeni ayina petrol. This is not an operational glitch. It is a reflection of culture that no longer value the people it means to serve. The National Schools of Government was meant to be the engine of skills transformation. Instead, it has become an academic retreat with little impact on frontline delivery. Officially remain unskilled, unethically, and unaccountability. What ethical training did NSG provide to the Home Affairs official in Brits who demanded a bribe to register a death certificate? What has the NSG done to reform the behavior of KZN officially implicated in the fraudulent issues of ID Amapasi? We don't need another conference. We need measures, behavioral change, and NSG is not delivering it. Where is the youth in the budget? Where are the job placement? Where are the paid internship that lead to permanent employment, not tokenism? Why is the public service still filled with unqualified and politically connection, while qualified youth are rotten, hopeless at home? This budget has no answer for youth unemployment. It is a betrayal of our future. And now I must express grave concern regarding the system underfunding of Public Service Commission, a body that should stand as a moral compass of public administration. The Public Service Commission is not just another department. It is the guardian of ethical government, the protector of whistleblower, the investigator of ghost workers, and the upholder of Bachopel. And yet, year after year, its budget is slashed. How can we expect the Public Service Commission to monitor 1.3 million public servants when it's intentionally starved of resources? This is not budget discipline, this is sabotage. If we weaken the watchdog, we open the door for wolves. The budget in current form is a blank check, a reward for inaction, a betrayal of accountability, a rejection of Bachobele, and most dangerous, a vote of confidence in a broken system. A complete purge of ghost employees, ethical transformation backed by measures, outcome, a plan for youth inclusive in public service, and the full capacity of public service as our ethic watchdog, we cannot in good conscience support this budget. We reject this budget as MK Party. Let us not be complicit in the collapse of public service integrity. Let us demand a budget that serves the people, not the bureaucracy. Let us invest in a government that listens, delivers, and live the value of Bachobele. People first. Amandla. Kwaza mkondo kwaza.
Honorable Malinga. Honorable Malinga, I figured that Batobele, you mean Batupili.
Okay, kodwa kuzwakele sihlalo.
Kunjalo. Let me now recognize Honorable Potgieter.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Minister and Deputy Minister, colleagues, officials from the different departments that fall under the DPSA and South Africans. The 7th administration under the GNU has pledged to create a capable, ethical and developmental state with professionalization of the public service and rooting out corruption at the forefront of this mission. This pledge must start within this House as an example to all members of government. After all, how can anyone take this seriously when ministers implicated in corruption are untouchable and underperforming, while those who uncover misconduct are punished for technical missteps not of their own making? Citizens see the hypocrisy, and so do public servants. Until the axe swings equally, regardless of party colors, talk of an ethical state remains empty rhetoric, lulling some into a false sense that government is turning itself around. The reality is that while the Department of Public Service is tasked with this potential game-changing priority, it cannot be striving for this achievement alone. Professionalization cannot operate as a side hustle of a severely underfunded DPSA and under-resourced PSC. It requires full government buy-in and capacitation from ministers to municipal managers and from portfolio committees to premiers. It demands an integrated human resource strategy, decisive anti-corruption enforcement, and a targeted training pipeline that starts with officials at the coalface of service delivery. We are already seeing the cracks. Our committee grapples weekly with how the department is expected to modernize payroll, digitize lifestyle audit tracking, and implement e-recruitment on a shrinking budget. We have a fundamental problem with fragmented HR systems across government, where all government spheres are reinventing the wheel at enormous cost to the public. Rather than expensive duplication and a 7% cut in real terms to the DPSA state digitization, we need a feasibility study on consolidation. The technology exists to create integrated platforms that would improve efficiency, reduce costs, and provide data insights for evidence-based skills development and performance management. But the pressures don't end there. The committee identified that the PSC offices are severely understaffed, with only 5 to 10 employees per office responsible for entire provincial administrations. This task will become even more difficult once the PSC bill is finalized, incorporating local governments into the mix. What makes this particularly frustrating is the Treasury's approach to funding. We have requested their presence at our committee to explain the constant defunding of the very department required to ensure that government operates more efficiently and public money is used appropriately. No consideration is given to government priorities or correcting mismanagement in departments requiring consistent bailouts. Throwing good money after bad does not result in different outcomes. Chairperson, beyond funding constraints, sometimes it's the systems that are forced on departments that are the real obstacle. The PSC has long called for the exemption from CETA due to severe compromises to its systems and risk to whistleblowers, and I would like to commend Minister Malatsi for making this a reality. A recent oversight visit revealed severe connectivity challenges as well. Chairperson, can I be protected? I'm sure those members can put their name on the list to speak. A recent oversight visit revealed severe connectivity challenges as well as cyber risks of unreliable systems controlled by external parties with not so stellar track records. This opportunity will increase reporting rates and stronger protection for whistleblowers. Lifestyle audits and financial interest disclosures alone mean nothing if those lifting the veil on corruption are not protected. The PSC must swiftly implement independent IT capacity. Their mandate is too critical to be held hostage by CETA's perpetual dysfunction. The National School of Government shows promising intent, and the DA welcomes its plan to expand courses, monitor student progress, and reposition itself as a world-class public sector academy, noting that training must reach officials who interface with the public on the ground. A fundamental flaw does remain, though. The DPSA and NSG still solely rely on departments to decide who should be trained, and questions to Parliament show us there is no overall assessment of who actually needs training. Most departments have no up-to-date skills audits or priority rankings, so decisions aren't strategic. Treasury's allowance for reinvestment of savings is welcomed in aiding towards a more self-funded model. This brings us to a troubling inconsistency. What of those who cherry-pick when they want to be treated as part of the public service? In a series of questions to Parliament, I've been attempting to understand how state departments and entities see their role as servants to the people. SOEs distance themselves from public service regulations when it suits them, hiding behind various acts, claiming board autonomy, or asserting ministerial prerogative over conditions of employment. The pattern is clear. The worse an SOE performs, the better its staff are compensated with no real methodology applied. While the PSC struggles with budget cuts, failing SOEs increase salaries and submit higher bailout requests. This exploitation of fragmented legislation must end. Public money demands public accountability, regardless of corporate structure. Chairperson, the credibility of this entire project hinges on accountability, starting with us. It will fail if those in executive leadership continue to enjoy impunity while genuine reformers are punished. The reforms that we fund today must be matched by political will to hold these officers to the same standards that we impose on frontline officials. Only then will professionalization move from rhetoric to reality. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Kalisha.
House Chairperson, the EFF rises to strongly reject this budget because it is not aligned with the realities of our people. It sustains elite mediocrity, entrenches administrative gatekeeping, and has absolutely nothing to do with transformation. It is a budget that feeds the stomach of bureaucracy, administrative elite, and recycles corruption under the guise of capacity building while starving the soul of the public service. The budget fails to address the systematic inequalities in the public service, such as wage disparities between top management and lower level workers. Despite repeated promises like lifestyle audits, corruption persists with no clear consequences for guilty officials. The EFF has said it before and will say it again. This budget prioritizes inflated administration over tangible skills development for public servants. More than 51% of NSG's budget goes to administration, not training, which is the core purpose of NSG. This is a complete betrayal of its core mandate, which is to equip a new generation of competent, ethical, and revolutionary public servants. We cannot allow a situation where it costs more to organize a workshop than to teach. We cannot have projectors and venues be more valuable than upskilling a nurse and a teacher and police officers. We asked NSG a simple accountability question. How many nurses were trained last year? How many teachers and how many police officers underwent training? And we have received no concrete figures, just inflated numbers and vague targets. There is no measurable and transparent impact. The NSG further boasts about digital training, which is another scam for the elite. The NSG cannot expect the people to believe that it will train rural civil servants online when they do not have necessary equipment. How will this be achieved when there is no reliable Wi-Fi connection where our people are? Only 54,000 civil servants learners are targeted in this financial year, but our public service consists of over 1 million people. We are forced to question whether there's sincerity or of this low target because it seems like it only offers digital delusion and not a solution. We must ask a question, Chair. How many rural clinics and township schools have functional internet services? Why is there no allocation in the NSG's budget to build that infrastructure? Because if the goal is to train digitally, then we must first confront digital apartheid that has manifested under the neoliberal government of the ANC. It worries the EFF chairperson that this program has no accountability. The NSG trains officials, but when the very officials are caught in corruption, nothing happens. No lifestyle audits, no dismissal, and no consequences. We have repeatedly raised the issue of the Nukela program. It is more of a box-ticking exercise rather than a training for senior managers. As the EFF want to know, how many corrupt officials have been removed after NSG training? Why are there no consequences for misconduct after undergoing NSG training? Why does the state keep rewarding thieves with promotion? We can all agree that the training without accountability is just window dressing. It allows corrupt individuals to appear credible without changing their conduct. Millions are spent on academic roundtables, luxury conferences, and high-sounding dialogues, while basic skills are ignored, all because this government prioritizes elite thought leadership over practical skills that will benefit the people. The people do not need glossy seminars. They need public servants who can fix potholes, run clean clinics, and provide efficient social services. Chairperson, your government currently has SOE board members who get 5-star leadership training, while nurses in the public service are reduced to buying their own gloves. Your government has fancy executive inductions, while junior officials do not even know how to process a basic ID application properly. How can you fund thought leadership and neglect basic needs of workers? This is not transformation. It is grave betrayal. The EFF believes in revolutionary public service reform. We want a school that teaches workers how to serve the people with excellence, humility, and revolutionary integrity. We need a public service that uproots corruption, not one that conceals it with certificates. We want a service that prepares people for delivery, not careerism that rewards the corruption. We need a public service that is rooted in the township, the rural villages and clinics, and the clinic queues and the overcrowded classrooms. That is where our revolution must begin. The EFF will continue to fight for a developmental public service that serves the people, not one that preserves privilege. Until then, no amount of digital spin, fancy certificates, or budget tricks will fool us. The people deserve better and will fight until they get it. The EFF will not support this budget.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Langa.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, House Chairperson. And greetings to the Minister, Honorable Nkosi Ushenge. Greetings to Deputy Minister, Honorable Pinky Kekana. Greetings to DPSA and entities led by DGs and DDGs. And also the PSC led by its chair, Professor Figeni. And also GEMS led by the CEO, honorable members and South Africans. The issue of competency in the public service remains a persistent challenge. This places a significant burden on the Department of Public Service and Administration, whose mandate include professionalizing the public sector, an essential component of service delivery and governance. The IFP supports this budget and recognizes the critical role of the National School of Government in developing capable public servants. We also welcome the strategic priority to expand digital learning through open distance e-learning and virtual platforms. However, the IFP is concerned that the NSG's budget allocation is not growing in line with its expanding mandate, which now spans all spheres of government and state institutions. While the NSG can generate its own revenue, National Treasury must recognize that this is not sufficient. We call for a more appropriate allocation as the school is central to building a capable state and ensuring efficient quality service delivery to all South Africans. Honorable House Chair, the mandate of the Department of Public Service and Administration is at the heart of good governance. It drives efforts to build an efficient, effective, and development-oriented public service central to the capable and developmental state envisioned in the National Development Plan 2030. A key part of this vision is the state's ability to reproduce the skills it requires. The IFP welcomes the department's commitment to intensifying the fight against corruption, which undermines service delivery, stalls development, and erodes public trust. Corruption is costly. Its consequences are mostly felt by the poor who depend on the state for basic services. We commend efforts to pursue those who embezzle funds meant for social relief. Furthermore, we support the department's implementation of lifestyle audits for selected employee categories and the strengthening of financial disclosure systems. These steps are crucial for improving discipline management and restoring integrity in the public service. The Public Service Commission plays a vital role in overseeing, monitoring, and evaluating and investigating public administration practices while promoting a capable, ethical, and developmental public service. The IFP echoes the committee's recommendation that the department expedite the development of a database of technical experts to support high-level selection committees in appointing accounting officers and chief executive officers. This will ensure that appointments are based on merit, competence, and integrity, thereby strengthening leadership across the public sector. A professional and ethical public service begins with selecting the right individuals for positions of critical responsibility. the IFP supports this budget vote. Siyathokoza.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Tena.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Honorable House Chair, the core mandate of this department of the public service at large is to give effect to the Constitution of our country by upholding the basic human rights of each and every one of our citizens. The public service is more than a bureaucratic machine. It is the lifeblood of service delivery, the instrument through which dignity and justice are made tangible. Yet, we cannot ignore the uncomfortable truth that public confidence in the public service has been deeply eroded. Our communities have, over the years, witnessed the steady encroachment of bureaucratic inefficiencies, cadre deployment, political interference, and entrenched corruption, resulting in poor or outright non-existent service delivery. Al hierdie jakkalsies is oor die jare heen toegelaat om die wingerd van dienslewering deur die staatsdiens te verniel, as gevolg van 'n gebrek aan behoorlike kontrole en gevolgebestuur, sowel as 'n gebrek aan die politieke wil om 'n ommekeer in hierdie hopelose situasie te bewerkstellig. Veral met betrekking tot die onherstelbare skade wat gedurende die berigte 9 vermorste jare onder die Zuma-geleide ANC-administrasie aangerig is. 'n tydperk wat gekenmerk is deur ongekende plundering en verval. Ten spyte van hierdie uitdagings is daar egter vroeë ligpunte wat deurbreek. Hoewel ons steeds met 'n buitensporige salarisrekening, diepgewortelde korrupsie en verval onder andere met sowel as ander uitdagings te maak het. Dit is bemoedigend dat die nasionale regeringsskool, indien dit op die komitee se voorstelle agslaan, die potensiaal het om professionalisering in die openbare sektor te dryf. 'n belangrike stap in die rigting van herstel. So ook die Openbare Dienste Kommissie wat 'n integrale rol in die versekering van etiese openbare bestuur speel. Hoewel die wetsontwerp op die ODK steeds nie gefinaliseer is nie en daar verskeie probleme is wat eers by die ODK aangespreek moet word. The recent targeted efforts to eradicate the problem of ghost workers in the public service deserve recognition, Minister. Those responsible for this blatant theft of public funds must be held criminally liable to the full extent of the law. En hier is 'n praktyk wat met alle erns en baie vinnig wortel en tak uitgeroei moet word. The delay in finalizing the necessary legislative amendments, such as the Public Service Amendment Bill and the Public Administration Management Amendment Bill, is a cause for concern. This process should have been finalized during the 6th administration already. Yet, the bills had to be revived for the NCOP process to be concluded. These bills will go far towards professionalizing our public service, ensuring greater accountability and eradicating corruption even further in our state institutions by, for instance, criminalizing the practice of public servants doing business with organs of state. However, Chair, while the Public Service Commission, the National School of Government, and the department itself can lay the groundwork for an ethical, committed, and citizen-focused public service, no law can legislate into existence morality, diligence, a good work ethic, or the will to serve. What we can do, and what this budget must enable, is to ensure that public servants are appointed on merit, that their skills and values align with the demands of their roles, that proper direction and the necessary resources are provided, that fairness is upheld, and crucially, that wrongdoing is met with real consequences. Only when these conditions are met can we hope to repair what has been broken, and only then will faith in the public service be restored. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Letlape.
Thank you, Chair. As Action SA, we support budget votes 7, 11, and 12. While our country stands at a precarious crossroads, these votes represent an opportunity to begin the hard necessary work of rebuilding a capable and ethical state. The Public Service Commission will welcome its clear shift towards deeper oversight, especially at the local government and SOE level. The Commission's expanded mandate, as anticipated through the new bill, is aligned with what Action SA has long called for: professional, non-partisan appointments and credible investigations into unethical conduct. A public service built on competence is not negotiable. Be cautious about merit, because merit can be used to impede transformation. Despite a modest real-term budget decrease, the Public Service Commission's focus on anti-corruption, provincial accessibility, and institutional reform is commendable, and we support this allocation. The Department of Public Service and Administration, we support the reforms to professionalize the public service and curb the systemic failures. The amendment bills before Parliament offer real potential, devolving operational power to Directors General, removing political interference from appointments, and enforcing consequences for unethical behavior. In particular, the inclusion of lifestyle audits, strengthened disciplinary registers, and financial disclosure frameworks are long overdue tools in the fight against entrenched corruption. We must move decisively from policy to enforcement. The National School of Government's role in driving skills development, executive training, and the mainstreaming of youth, gender, and disability inclusions is critical to long-term capability. Chairperson, our people are tired of talking. They want delivery. They want consequence. These three institutions have put forward credible reform-driven plans. I'm happy that one of them in my field is here, called GEMS. Now, when we talk about public service, we need quality services for citizens, including the public office bearers, public officials, and servants. What we create for the people, we should be creating for ourselves. So I would hope to see in the not too distant future, GEMS coming up with provisions where its members will use the public service. PARMED coming with resolutions that its members will use the public service. Because if we pretend we care about the public when we live in a private world, whether it's private schools, whether it's private health, we are more deceitful than the previous regime we replace. So for me, we should put our monies where our mouth is and pledge solidarity with the people. Professionalizing the public service should extend to education, it should extend to health, where workers should be in sufficient numbers so that we can avoid destroying the workforce that we have a duty to protect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mambe. I will now recognize the Deputy Minister of Public Service and Administration.
Honorable House Chair, Minister for the Department of Public Service and Administration, Nkosi Mzamo Buthelezi, Deputy Minister Mapaseka Litsike, Honorable Chair and members of the Portfolio Committee, members of this august House, chairpersons of entities, directors general, ladies and gentlemen, fellow South Africans. I stand before you today as Deputy Minister of the Department of Public Service and Administration, a proud ANC cadre within our Government of National Unity, to reaffirm our solemn pledge: government must deliver for its people. As President Cyril Ramaphosa reminded us in his State of the Nation, I quote, "A capable professional public service lies at the heart of our democracy. It is the engine of growth, the guarantor of stability, and the custodian of the people's trust," close quote. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the Freedom Charter adopted in Kliptown in June 1955. Its words still guide us after 7 decades. I quote, "There shall be housing, security, and comfort. The doors of learning and culture shall be open," close quote. These twin imperatives to shelter our people and to expand opportunity animate every reform we pursue. They compel us to turn heroic aspirations into daily reality for millions. As our Honorable Minister Nkosi Mzamo Buthelezi has emphasized, and I quote, "These are not cosmetic tweaks, they are scaffolding on which a professional, ethical public service will rise," close quote. Honorable members, through these laws, we will cement a meritocratic culture and give citizens clear routes to demand service. Our people on the front line carry a continuously growing burden. Over the past decade, South Africa's population rose from 54 million to 62 million. Yet our public servants headcount has remained at roughly 1.2 million. As a result, the ratio of citizens to public servants has climbed from 45:1 to over 51:1, a crushing workload that impacts the quality of service delivery. To alleviate these pressures, we reaffirm our commitment as the DPSA to support our workforce across the three pillars. On housing, Government Employee Housing Scheme beneficiaries grew from 352,103 in 2015 to 824,878 by March 2025. Housing allowance increased from 900 Rand to 1,900 Rand by March 2025. Yet 174,967 employees who are eligible to receive the housing allowance are still not receiving it. On health, Government Employee Medical Scheme remains the largest medical scheme in the country, covering over 880,563 members and 2,394,094 beneficiaries as by end of 2024. GEMS chronic care benefits and disease management programs support public service employees to improve their physical and mental health. This medical aid scheme has dedicated a lot of effort to reduce co-payments when members seek health service, and the trend is positive. Honorable Chair, GEMS is in the process of enhancing the existing health and wellness program that support public service employees with, amongst others, counseling, screening, and preventative care service. On innovation, the Center for Public Service Innovation's annual Innovation Awards has identified over 60 scalable projects from solar-powered schools in Limpopo to mobile clinic triage in the Western Cape and more. On 14 April 2025, we launched Project Africa First, a public-private partnership co-steered by the DPSA and the National Department of Health in response to President Ramaphosa's call for localized manufacturing in pharmaceuticals in his role as the AU's pandemic preparedness response champion for both increased access to healthcare for the continent, but also growing our national economy through intra-Africa trade optimization under the AFCFTA. President Ramaphosa has said that, I quote, "Innovation in the public service is not a luxury, but a necessity if we are to serve 62 million people efficiently," close quote. Honorable Chair, our colleagues face more than long hours and increased workloads. They face rising extended family obligations, escalating living costs, and mounting personal debt, creating severe stress. Government may be the single largest employer in the country, but it must also be an employer of choice. Honorable Malinga, in Youth Month, every year, we honor the youth of 1976, whose outrage at injustice launched a movement under the ANC banner. As part of government efforts on youth employment, the DPSA is focused on ensuring departmental and leadership targets are met for 2025-2026. As we move from Youth Month into Mandela Month, the world's most iconic public servant, Tata Madiba famously reminds us who we are as South Africans when he stood a few meters away on the steps of the Cape Town City Hall on the day of his release and said, I quote, I greet you all in the name of peace, democracy, and freedom for all. I stand here before you, not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. Your tireless and heroic sacrifices have made it possible for me to be here today. I therefore place the remaining years of my life in your hands, close quote. As a public servant, it is in our hands to make South Africa a better country for our people. Honorable Chair, the DPSA is holding a mandate for state capacity to deliver. We are responsible and accountable for what took really in action. This year, I joined our officials on outreach initiatives across the country, working with James Alexander Forbes and other stakeholders. And together we distributed quite a number of things, 1,500 school uniforms, 200 laptops, and many others. And these donations also, we made sure that hospitals are able to get equipments. And thanks to all our critical stakeholders. Earlier this year, President Ramaphosa announced the National Dialogue, a platform for co-creation of solutions to our greatest challenges as a nation. The DPSA leads public service pillar of the dialogue, convening focus groups with frontline workers, union representatives, and departmental leaders to surface real-time challenges and innovative ideas. We publish quarterly dialogue progress reports, including action plans, timelines, and responsible units, ensuring that the national dialogue does not become yet another talk shop, but a catalyst for change. It is well known that the DPSA measures progress rigorously through the APPs that we always scrutinize and look at the outcomes through what we are delivering through our dashboards as GEHS, as GEMS, and CPSI, and also on the issue of whistleblower capacity and anti-corruption activities across national and provincial departments. So we are hard at work, Honorable Malinga and your team. On this 70th anniversary on the Freedom Charter, our people's blueprint for a just society to build a public service that works for every South African, guided by both ANC values and GNU mandate, we will legislate wisely, support our people fully, convene inclusively through the national dialogue, delivering daily, and let us remember, service is our highest calling. Together, we shall meet that calling with integrity, with compassion, and unwavering resolve. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The next speaker will be from the ACDP, Honorable Swart.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, the ACDP would like to thank those hundreds of thousands of public servants who diligently every day perform their duties, whether it's doctors, nurses, educators, policemen, prosecutors, social workers across the whole spectrum. And there are very many that diligently work hard and act and do whatever they need to do under very difficult financial constraints. And so, Minister, we do appreciate those workers. And what is needed is a culture of servant leadership. Public servants are there to serve the nation, and they also need to understand the concept of stewardship of state resources. The funds that are entrusted to them are not there to be looted or stolen, but to be stewarded. That having been said, we are fully aware as the ACDP that corruption is very widespread and impedes service delivery, compromises development, and undermines public confidence in the state. And the ACDP is concerned that there are still many public service employees who are still involved in corrupt activities. Many continue to do business with the state. Even funds allocated for social relief continue to be embezzled. What is even more disgraceful is that some officials appoint ghost workers to benefit from the weaknesses in the personnel system. So conducting lifestyle audits on selected categories of employees is required, and we welcome that. Honourable Minister, we welcome the extension of this to further categories. The low willingness to report corruption is a further matter of concern, and yes, we need to improve whistleblower protection and ensure that even those whistleblowers receive a financial incentive. Many of them give their lives when they blow the whistle on corruption. And we believe that public awareness campaigns, as well as a financial incentive, should funds be recovered as a result of whistleblowing, will assist in this regard. Chairperson, the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act contains very stringent provisions to fight corruption, and they must be strictly enforced. Parliament passes many laws which aren't fully implemented. One of the provisions is Section 34, which requires any official in a position of authority who even knows or ought reasonably to have known of any corrupt activities up to 100,000 to report that. And if they don't, it is a criminal offense. The question is, how many people have ever been prosecuted under this act? I don't think so. So we believe far more can be done to fight corruption, but we appreciate the work that many public servants do at this stage, and the ACDP will support this report and this budget. I thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be from the UDM. Is there anybody from the UDM in the house? If not, the next speaker will be from Rise, Honorable Ghana.
I'm promised to, it seems many members want to deliver my speech. And let me also greet the Public Service Commission chair that's here. So this evening I rise for a professional, ethical, and efficient public service. I rise for a public service that serves the people of South Africa with honesty, dignity, and agency. As Rise Mzansi, we exist to build a safe, prosperous, equal, and united South Africa in one generation. But this vision will remain a dream if our public service remains broken. The future we want to build depends on a capable and ethical state, and that starts with public servants who place the people at the center. We do need a new culture in public administration. One that says that Batupili is not just a slogan or a poster that's gathering dust in government corridors. It must be a living, daily principle, a mindset, a practice. Public servants are not doing us a favor. They are entrusted to serve us. Let us be honest. The problem is not only a lack of resources. The deeper crisis is the wastage, inefficiency, and theft of those very resources. We do need to invest in ethical leadership within the public service. Leadership that sets the tone and holds everyone accountable. And we must jointly say that corruption in the public service must fall. Not through talk shops, but through decisive action. That is why we call for regular lifestyle audits, not just for the Director General, but for all officials in the supply chain process, including the clerks. Procurement is where the road begins. We must also consider withholding pensions of public servants who are found guilty of looting public funds. If you steal from the people, you should not retire in peace on their money. Minister, South Africa deserves better. Let's clean up the public service so we can build a country that truly serves its people, one that is safe, equal, prosperous, and united. The people of South Africa deserve no less.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Is there anybody from the NCC? No. Anybody from the UAT? Nope. The next speaker will be from the DA, Honorable De Villiers.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Minister, Deputy Minister, members of this House, and representatives from the DPSA, the NSG, and the PSC. I often read political commentary and listen to political talks about South Africa with great interest. Many of these political commentators reflect on where we as a country have come from, where we are today, and where we need to get to. But Chair, today, 31 years post-apartheid, most commentators agree things are not going as planned. Symptoms are clear. Unemployment and crime is at an all-time high. Poverty is growing, and we still have vast and unacceptable inequality between those who have and those who have not. Chair, I also believe that most commentators would agree. When a government fails to create jobs, people become poorer and society becomes more unequal. And thus, the government then fails. But in contrast, when the government stimulates the economy to create jobs, leading to more people creating wealth, then inequality shrinks and the government is on track. Chair, the real question is then, what do we need to do? More specifically, what does this government need to do? And here we get a whole host of different answers and solutions. The economy needs to be stimulated. We need to focus on education. We need to fix our hospitals. Road, rail, and transport infrastructure need to be built and improved. We need to stop corruption. Crime needs to be brought under control. Our justice system needs to start working. Energy, electricity provision needs to be stable and dependable. We need more dialogues, more policies, better legislation. I have missed many others. And so the list of solutions can go on and on and on, with different stakeholders prioritizing different areas and approaches to how this country should be governed. But what frustrates me is this. With all the rhetoric, all the comments, and the public debate around these solutions, not enough attention is given to what must surely be our most important priority: the rebuilding and professionalization of the public service. I ask the following: what is a government but the public service, the people who drive, direct, and work for the government, the executors of all government strategy, policies, and decisions? How does a government achieve anything, failure or success, without the public service that delivers that outcome? So, Chair, if you ask me, how do we fix corruption, get our economy to grow, fix crime, rebuild our roads, rails, schools, hospitals, the justice system, stabilize our energy network? My answer is clear and simple. We need to create a professional, merit-based, non-political, and effective public service and administration. All public service and administration appointments must be merit-based with zero political influence. Luckily, Chair, I am not alone in this view. The drafters of the Constitution of South Africa clearly agreed with this approach, as outlined in Chapter 10 of the Constitution, which creates a clear vision for a non-partisan, professional, and accountable public service and administration. This commitment is echoed echoed in the workings of the GNU, the Government of National Unity, with its statement of intent, including a clear commitment to a professional, merit-based, non-partisan, and effective public service and administration. That is why, Chair, this budget vote is so important. In order to fix South Africa, we need to make sure that the Department of Public Service and Administration, the DPSA, the National School of Government, the NSG, and the Public Service Commission, the PSC, are funded to act on this mandate of the GNU to create a professional, merit-based, non-partisan and effective public service and administration. The DPSA must clearly set out and maintain the professional standards and practices of the public service and administration. The NSG must strengthen skills through its continuous education and development, and the PSC must be the watchdog, the protector of standards and practices in the public service and administration. And what is unfortunately clear from this budget and many of the preceding budgets is that the PSC is underfunded to perform its constitutional role as an independent oversight body as prescribed in Section 196 of the Constitution. That is why this committee works so seriously to process and pass the PSC Amendment Bill, which was passed unopposed in the National Assembly and is now in front of the NCOP. The final passing of the PSC bill is a vital step towards the PSC being able to be structured, funded, and operated independently, and thus fulfill its constitutional duty. Chair, if we are serious about the future of South Africa, we must be serious about the public service. It must be the priority of this government and this committee to fight for a public service and administration that is professional, merit-based, and non-partisan. Only then can we implement everything else to create an economy that grows, creating jobs, wealth, and true empowerment for all the people of South Africa. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker will be from the ANC, Honourable Ndamase.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of the executive arm of the state that are part of the meeting. I would assume that they are led by Minister Buthelezi today, and the House at large, together with the entities that are reporting and accounting to the Portfolio Committee on Public Service and Administration. Honorable House Chair, the African National Congress supports these budgets, vote 11, vote 12, as well as vote 7. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the African National Congress continues to view the 2025-2026 budget of the Department of Public Service and Administration as a subset of set transformation. Transformation not just as a synonym for change, but transformation as a springboard in making sure that the material conditions of the people are changed for the better. Honorable House Chair, although we support this budget, we pledge to continue with our vigorous oversight within the parameters of our Constitution. Honorable Minister, we are going to hold you accountable to what you presented to us as your medium-term development plan 2025 to 2029, which includes the following, amongst others, as priorities: improving compliance with legislative prescripts and enforcing compliance, finalization of public service and public administration management amendment bills, intensifying and strengthening fight against corruption in the public service, improving public service annual performance plans, reducing government wage bill, improvement of government performance, digitalization and modernization of the public service, as well as the enhancement of whistleblower protection. When we look at the Center for Public Service Innovation, CPSI, our understanding of the Center for Public Service and Innovation is as articulated in the legislation, which is to unlock, entrench, and nurture the culture of innovation within the public sector for improved performance and productivity. This understanding is concomitant with the ANC's vision and objectives on developing our human resource as espoused in the RDP document. We will therefore continue to demand from CPSI to measure its success on the basis of efficient delivery of services. If we look at the Public Service Commission, which we agree that there is a lot of work that they are performing in terms of making sure that our administration is on the straight and narrow. The ANC has always advanced the argument that the Public Service Commission must be responsible for matters relating to appointments, promoting efficiency and effectiveness in departments. This articulation predates April 1994, hence the unwavering support to the work of the PSC as epitomized by our championing of the Public Service Commission Bill. We are in full support of the PSC role in monitoring the implementation of the professionalization framework without fear or favor and submit annual progress reports to Parliament and provincial legislatures as part of efforts to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. Honorable Chair, it is our firm view that the budget allocation for PSC must be increased for maximum performance. That is your goose that is going to lay for you the golden eggs if we make sure that we invest more resources into the PSC. On the National School of Government, we will continue to support the work of the NSG, which is aimed to strengthen state capacity and build a professional, capable, ethical, and developmental state through education, training, and development. Honorable House Chair and honorable members, it is well and good to write and articulate through our own teeth that as the Department of Public Service and Administration, our strategic focus for 2025-2026 is a state that does the following, amongst others. A state that treats all people with dignity, humility, and respect. A state that is capable and competent, underpinned by a professional service. A state with leaders who are prepared to serve our people with complete dedication. A state with public servants who are ethical, skilled, and properly qualified. Honorable members, I can bet my last cent that all of us in this room would sacrifice our limbs to live in such a state as articulated above. This is an ideal state, and the citizens of South Africa deserve it. Honorable Minister, we dare not fail them. That state, I would argue, is feasible when our political and administrative cohort can assume servant leadership roles on a daily basis as articulated by Robin Sharma and Will Kenton. Robin Sharma has what he calls the person's final questions. And he goes further to argue that those are the questions that each and one of us should be able to pose when we are on our deathbed. Those questions are three. The first one is, did I live wisely? The second one is, did I love well? And the third one is, did I serve greatly? If we had time, I would go to town in terms of looking into the issues that have to do with living, because there is more to living than breathing. And there is more to loving than hugging. But Sharma argues that in relation to service, we must be able to ask ourselves a question. Did we serve greatly? It's not just a service, but a great service. Will Kenton, on the other hand, says servant leaders demonstrate the following characteristics among others: empathy, listening, I'm tempted to say not talking, stewardship, and commitment to personal growth of others. I dare say, honorable members, that all these attributes that have been articulated above, our South African citizens, they deserve them. The problem is that I am almost at the tail end of the speakers, and I would love also to make reference to my colleagues that were here. Honorable Malinga. I'm looking for him. Honorable Malinga is part of our portfolio committee. And I don't understand him when he is here, because Honorable Malinga was part of the people that adopted that report, which was presented in that committee. Honorable Potgieter, I'm going to attempt to speak to your hearts. I'm not very good in the matters of the heart, and I'm also not very good even in the matters of the mind. But I just want to make a reference to a poet, an Italian poet called Dante, who wrote a very long poem entitled Divine Comedy. And somewhere he says, the hottest place in hell should be reserved for those who maintain their neutrality during the time of moral crisis, close quote. But for today, I would like to say the hottest place in hell should be reserved for those who have a penchant to destroy once cameras roll out while the ANC is busy building. As I sit down, Honorable Tsilisha, I respect your views. You had articulated it in the committee, your stance that we're articulating here. But I have a message from Che Guevara for you. Quote him, at the age of 32, he had this to say: for one to be a revolutionary, first there has to be a revolution. Supporting a budget is part of a revolution, and therefore there will never be a revolutionary if there is no revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The final speaker will be the Honorable Minister of Public Service and Administration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Members.
I really appreciate the last speaker who just descended from the podium, because he made my life very easy. Because ordinarily, House Chair, ordinarily, I do not have the capacity to deal with such matters that were raised by some very few members of this House. That capacity I don't have, so the member has assisted me. I hope they took some lessons from what he said. Firstly, I want to do what I should do here. First and foremost, to thank all the members who participated, not for the sake of participating, but for the sake of enriching our discussions. I was listening attentively when they were speaking, and I was making some notes here. We also welcome the constructive criticism that they have put forth, and also some emphasis on different areas where we need to improve as the department. However, Honorable Malinga came here, and I was not surprised, Chair, and I asked this Honorable House not to be surprised, because he was living true to be an MKP member. Because MK, Umkhonto, yes, it's because all of us here, we are in a business to build this country, not to tear apart. So Umkhonto is never a tool that you use to build. Never. So I'm leaving that to their own members at home to really understand the dilemma that they've put us into, where we are in a business to build our country, but they are bringing an instrument or a tool that is never meant to build.
Honorable Minister, could you please take your seat? Thank you. I'd like to recognize Honorable Gama. What's your point of order?
Is the minister willing to take a question about izumkhonto context.
Honorable Minister, are you willing to take a question?
I can take a question for few suppose I'm not scared of anything. You can just ask a question. Most welcome.
Please go ahead, Honorable Gama.
Thank you very much, Minister. So do you believe that in the context where we now have this GNU marriage, there is in the context of this GNU, you believe that the issues about the names of parties or the issue of delivering to the people of this country, where for the past 12 years, we have not been able to create any jobs for people. We have 12.8 million people who are unemployed. Do you think that we should be talking about names of parties rather than dealing with the real issues?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, House Chair. You see, I made a good thing by allowing the member to expose himself. The GNU started last year, not in the past 12 years. That's a first point of correction. So your question is irrelevant, and I have not to waste time responding to yourself. So I was only saying that people in, there was no question. You referred to some that has never been there. You referred to the GNU, which started 12 years back.
Honorable Minister, would you take your seat for a second? Honorable Minister, will you just give us a minute? There's a point of order on the floor. Thank you. Honorable Malinga, what is your point of order? Please give us the rule as well.
Thank you, Chair. I can see that the minister is bold enough. I believe that he.
What is your point of order, Honorable Malinga?
I just want to check that the minister is able to take the question.
Aye.
No.
Honorable Minister, will you be willing to
No
take
more
a question?
questions. I don't want to subject this house to such kind of a question which are irrelevant. I rather
Okay.
proceed.
Thank you very much.
So I'm asking
Please proceed, Honorable Minister.
that. Oh, I'm asking, therefore, I'm putting this to the people of this country to really know the dilemma that they are putting us in by bringing elements, I said, which are never meant for building this country. Lastly, Chair, you see, I try to avoid to respond to members, but Honorable Gilishe, I'm very disappointed, honestly speaking, because for a member to stand here and ask how many police, how many teachers, how many nurses NSG has trained, that speaks to a serious challenge of a lack of appreciation of what this department is all about and what NSG does. We are never a training college for police. We are never a training college for teachers. Neither we are a training college for nurses. What NSG does, we're a department which supports other departments. NSG sits there, identify gaps within the system, and see how best they can assist department where there are skill shortages. That is exactly development. That is what we do. We do not literally train policy and nurses and all that. But I hope that next time members will even listen, because the danger here is this issue of a mandate. We are all politicians here. NgesiZulu, DM, kuthiwe uchatha uchathile. You know, once you are given a mandate, you are going to die with it. It doesn't matter the circumstance. Even if you went out there thinking that.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, would you just take your seat for a second, please? Yes, Honorable Member, why would you like to be recognized?
Can I rise on a point of privilege?
What point of privilege are you raising?
Such in the rules.
Chadi, let me remind you and the Honorable Minister that when details are presented, committees, people ask and present their views. And people present. No, Chair, it's a point of privilege. But parties.
We need to do points of order, Mr. Chair. Honorable member.
But parties have a right.
You can only rise on a point of order, Mr. Chair.
No.
What is your point?
I'm saying, Chair, that parties.
There's no privilege.
I'm saying that parties have. I'm saying, Chair, that parties, even though they may have been briefed, given details in committees, they've got a right
Thank
when
you.
they come here to make declarations.
Okay, thank you, honorable member.
Chair.
Can I recognize the honorable whip of the ANC? Thank you.
No, thanks, Honorable Chair. No, Honorable Montana is not raising a point of privilege. He is debating. So that's not a point of privilege. Chair, thanks.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, please continue. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate my kindness because we have to allow such things to play on the floor. So thank you very much. All that works for us. People must be proven out there. So I appreciate members' contributions, even those that are coming from the MKP and the EFF, because I know that these honorable members, they are very honorable when we're discussing these matters at a committee level. But when they are here because of these cameras, then they tend to become something else. And that is not our business, therefore. I want to thank all members in particular, as I still have some 2 minutes here, but because I don't have time to waste, so I will stick to my presentation. Firstly, I want to thank Team DPSA, the acting DG, and all the deputy DGs, the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, who is with the executive officer, Prof. You see now, Prof. Fikeni and Ms. Dube, and also the chairperson of James, who is there, and the principal, and also the executive of the Center for Public Innovation, all of them that are here, because this is their work, and we are very proud. Even the committee itself, collectively, Chair, I really thank them because they always, now the committee, keep us on our toes, not what they try to do here when they see cameras. Thank you for supporting the group.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. That concludes the debate and the business of this mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise. Thank you.